Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dana and today I have for you homemade profiteroles stuffed with custard, vanilla custard. I haven't ate these in a long time and I thought if I'm gonna make them they will be absolutely delicious, and they were. For the show pastry or cream puffs, I'm going to use 4 eggs, 100 grams of butter, 150 grams of flour, 250 milliliters of water, a pinch of salt, and 1 tablespoon of sugar or sweetener of choice. In a tiny pot, I'm going to pour the water, add the sweetener, a pinch of salt, the butter, and on the stove on low fire I'm gonna keep this until the butter is gonna start melting and my mixture almost will start boiling. As you can see, dump the flour all at once in your pot and start mixing vigorously using either a spatula, wooden spoon, or a whisk, and try to dry out as much as you can this dough. Lower the fire and keep mixing, drying out, and when you see like a film on the bottom of your pot, the dough is ready. You can take it out from the stove and let it cool down for a few minutes. To cool it down even faster, I put it in the mixing bowl. It is metal and it's cold, and I made sure to spread it with the spatula on the walls of the mixer so it will cool down faster. We cannot incorporate the eggs while the dough is too hot because we're gonna end up with scrambled eggs. After a few minutes, I'm gonna start the mixer and cool down even more the dough, and I will start incorporating the eggs one at a time, making sure that I'm mixing really well after each egg until it's well incorporated and the dough doesn't seem separated like you see now. So continue to mix until the egg is well incorporated and add the next one, and so on. It's really easy to make cream puffs, and you can fill them up with sweet fillings like this custard that I'm gonna make, or with savory stuff. So I'm adding now the third egg after I made sure that I incorporated really good the first two, and continue to mix. You can do this with a mixer like I am doing it. It's a lot faster, but if you don't have one, a wooden spoon or a whisk are gonna be fine to use as well. It's gonna take a lot of work, but you can do it. The last egg now. I will mix it in really good, and you're gonna see the texture of the dough or batter. It's gonna be really nice and will look creamy and not too runny and not too stiff either, not too thick. mixing one more time with the spatula just to make sure that everything is nice and well incorporated. And I am preheating the oven at 374 Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius. And this batter, I'm gonna pour it in a piping bag, and I'm gonna start piping the cream puffs on my oven tray on baking paper. And I'm making them pretty small because I know they will puff up in the oven, and I want to serve them in nice ice cream cups or even like big coffee cups. So I'm piping all the dough, making sure that I let some space in between them. And also I will dip my finger in cold water and tuck in those pointy ends because I don't want them to burn up in the oven. And also I want these cream puffs to have a nice round shape, so I can fill them up with delicious custard as much as I can. I will bake them in my electric oven with the burner only from underneath on at 190 Celsius, as I said, for about 20 minutes. And I made sure to keep an eye on them to see when they start to look like the shell is getting harder and drier. And then I lower the oven at 338 Fahrenheit or 170 Celsius, and I turn on the upper burner and the fan, like convection oven, to dry them up at a lower temperature as much as I can without burning them. They look absolutely delicious, and I will let them cool down, and in the meantime we're making custard. For this I'm gonna use some pudding powder, like 40 grams, 1 pack, 3 tablespoons of sweetener or sugar if you prefer, and 400 milliliters of milk. I'm gonna pour almost all the milk in a pot and put it on the stove to heat up, saving only 3 tablespoons of cold in my cup over there, mixing the custard or pudding with my sweetener. And I'm using a whisk just because I don't want any lumps in my custard. I'm adding now the cold milk that I've reserved. I'm mixing everything together now, making sure that there is no lumps in my mixture. In the meantime, the milk heated up on the stove, and I'm pouring it over the custard. Continue to mix and pour it back in the pot. I still have some hot milk in there, but the bowl that I used was pretty small and didn't fit all the milk. I couldn't fit all the milk in it. So pour everything back in the pot. Give it a good mix, and on the stove on low fire, continue to mix until this is getting nice and creamy and thick. Now it's time to let it cool down. Because I don't want this custard to create that dry layer on top, I'm covering it with cling film, making sure that the cling film is touching the custard underneath, and let it cool down. I am ready to start serving these profiteroles. So I'm putting the custard in a piping bag with a tip meant to be used when we fill up donuts or cream puffs. Didn't work that well. I needed a lot of strength to do this, probably because mine is kind of narrow, kind of thin, but yeah, I did it. So make sure to put lots of custard inside of them. Choose a cute glass or a cup that you have, and put a few in there. Make sure to have ice cream, homemade one or bought. A good ice cream that you really enjoy having, and a few cups of that ice cream over your profiteroles. A nice drizzle of chocolate sauce. You can add fruits, you can add nuts, almonds, pistachio, walnuts, even cookies or Oreos. Make sure to make these a really lovely glass to serve your profiteroles with. On top of all of these, I'm gonna drizzle a bit more chocolate sauce. Of course, some whipping cream. You can powder a bit of cocoa powder on top. Add a cherry or a raspberry, some mint, and it's ready to be served. I even grated some lime on top of this because the contrast is amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I wish you to have an amazing summer. Thank you. See you next time.